Hey, I'm Jesse. Let's have a devotion. We're going to look at Daniel 7, verses 15 through 22. Look for a theme here that connects Daniel near the middle of the Bible to the beginning and the end. Because in the beginning of the Bible, we see God create Eden and give Adam and Eve dominion over it. Particularly, he tasks Adam with the world's first zoologist position. He's got to name all the animals. God is the greatest delegator in the universe. He creates this amazing paradise, and then there are sinless people whom he's created who live there, and they're given dominion over it. And then God just oversees it all, sovereignly reigns over it all, and receives glory from it all. In the end of the redemptive history, which will last forever, there again, God has created a paradise, and sinless people he loves are there, and he gives us dominion. And he receives glory forever because of it. So look for the theme when we get to the book of Revelation of the saints reigning. Now, much of that's going to refer to people out of the tribulation or in the millennium to come. But watch for this theme from Genesis to Revelation, as echoed here in Daniel, of God as delegator, creating something and then giving the keys to it over to mankind. As for me, Daniel, my spirit was deeply distressed within me, and the visions in my mind terrified me. If you haven't been with us for the last couple of devotions, he's seen the successive empires, and he's seen a glimpse of the world's final Gentile empire. I approached one of those who were standing by and asked him to clarify all this. So he let me know the interpretation of these things. These huge beasts, 4 in number, are 4 kings who will rise from the earth, but the holy ones of the Most High will receive the kingdom and possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. So he's shown Babylon and Persia and Greece and Rome. He's shown Rome part 2 as well, the reign of the Antichrist or the beast. And this is interpreted exactly for him. These huge beasts that he's seen, okay, the winged lion and the bear with the 3 ribs and the 4-headed leopard with the 4 wings, and then the scary 4th one. He really, watch in the next text, like he really fixates on that 4th one. He doesn't have any kind of other animal to convey it to. It's just terrifying, and it tramples things, and there's lots of iron and horns, like and claws. It's crazy. Look at this. These huge beasts, 4 in number, are 4 kings who will rise from the earth. But the holy ones of the Most High will receive the kingdom. Look at that. Receive the kingdom. God is the greatest delegator in the universe. And these are the people who belong to him, will receive the kingdom and possess it forever. And so you could interpret this as the millennial saints reigning with Christ, and then it keeps on going right into eternity. Where at the end of the millennium, Satan is vanquished forever. So his reign begins in that millennium, but it never ends. It goes straight on into what we think of as eternity, the eternal future of heaven right here on earth. But the holy ones of the Most High will receive the kingdom and possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. Look at the emphasis that this angel gives Daniel in interpreting this vision for him. Yes, forever and ever. The yes is there for emphasis. The forever, it's the greatest emphasis you can use, and he uses it twice. Oh, and for good measure, and ever. Then I wanted to be clear about the 4th beast, the one different from all the others. All right, like he conveys the first one to the first one to the winged lion, and then the next one to a bear, the next one to a 4-headed leopard, and you see it. Those kind of escalate in weirdness. He's totally cool with the 4-headed leopard with 4 wings. He's not asking God to clarify that one. Like, got it, 4-headed leopard, 4 wings. What is that one though? He is completely accepting of the 4-headed leopard with 4 wings. So just how terrifying was this thing? He goes on to describe that 4th beast, extremely terrifying, with iron teeth and bronze claws, alluding perhaps to cooperation with Greco-Roman authorities, bronze and iron. Iron teeth, bronze claws, devouring, crushing, and trampling with its feet whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head and about the other horn that came up, before which 3 fell. the horn that had eyes and a mouth that spoke arrogantly and that looked bigger than the others. Now, this talking horn motif has come up a couple of times, and you could be confused, as we've seen that same, like, what is the word for this? I don't even know what you'd call it. That same concept at work, and say his vision of the goat versus the ram, little Greece taking on big Persia, Alexander the Great conquering, and he's represented by this seemingly animate horn on the goat. But this is different. This is different. You could also see parallels with prophecies about Antiochus Epiphanes the Fourth. And again, this animate horn imagery always ultimately points forward to the Antichrist. And so Rome, the terrifying fourth beast, has this future in the 70th week at the end of days. And he's got questions about it. It's massively destructive. There are 10 sort of vassal kingdoms under this fourth kingdom. And there are 3 that are conquered by this one that he says spoke arrogantly. I interpret that to always refer to the Antichrist because it's a theme in these prophecies. And it looked bigger than the others. As I was watching, this horn waged war against the holy ones. So this is the Antichrist attacking Christians and was prevailing over them. It looks bad for a minute until the Ancient of Days arrived, and a judgment was given in favor of the holy ones of the Most High, for the time had come, and the holy ones took possession of the kingdom. So here is the timeless, eternal nature of God. I interpret this as just God the Father, the timeless one, the Ancient of Days, who spoke the universe into existence, thereby also creating time in concert with that cosmic act. And so because he existed what we would consider before days began, he is the Ancient of Days. He's sovereign, he's eternal, he's timeless, he's holy, he's good, he's loving, and he has arrived. And he's also, look, here's the sovereignty. You can see the fact that he arrived would indicate he cares. He's loving, and he's holy, and he's just, and he's good, so he's going to conquer evil. Moreover, he has the authority to do it. He is the one on the judge's bench. He's the one who issues judgments. And his judgment is in favor of the holy ones, the ones who in the previous verse were losing until the Ancient of Days arrived. These words are poetic in themselves because we're using temporal, I guess, would these be temporal prepositions like the word until? It's a very powerful word, until. We're using like these temporal terms to describe this timeless being. There was a time when he'd allowed things to go on, and now he's arrived, and now it's judgment time. When we combine his eternal power, his title as the Ancient of Days, with the fact that he has the prerogative and because it's in his nature to be good, and because he has the sovereignty to reign and to rule, he then presides in judgment over evil. Combine his sovereignty with his timelessness, and you can see that God is fully aware of how all this would go down. He's already appointed the time of the judgment. So from his perspective, outside of time, it's done. It's already done. Until the Ancient of Days arrived and judgment was given in favor of the holy ones of the Most High. For the time had come, and the holy ones took possession of the kingdom. There it is again. God is the greatest delegator in the universe. So when he created mankind in Eden, he created this paradise. They were sinless, and he gave them work to do. And so you can imagine that after evil is conquered forever and the events foretold in Daniel and Revelation come to pass, that once again, it'll be our perfect holy God with his now made sinless creation in paradise, glorifying him forevermore. And he seems to do that by way of delegating authority. Some of the delegations that remain upon us today are, believe it or not, Christians are the original environmentalists. We've been given the keys to rule over the earth, to exercise our dominion upon it. So we are its caretakers. And, for that reason, Christians ought to give a rip about the environment. And so should Jews as well. All right. Though they deny Christ, they still believe, that this commissioning would hold sway. Uh, so yeah, sure. I mean, we recycle at our house. uh, we love Tiger Mountain. I'm not an environmentalist per se, but yeah, I give a rip. I'm never gonna fall for another doomsday prediction. Not that I've ever fallen for one in the first place. What I mean to say is, I grew up in Florida and I saw Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth documentary. All right, and my hometown should have been underwater 20 years ago by that Oscar-winning documentary. Uh, and this goes way, way, way before I was born. I've read doomsday predictions of imminent environmental catastrophe that date back like a century. It's so funny. So, yeah, we are to care for the environment. We exercise our dominion over it. And it's not an ethics violation, for example, for a man to pose with something that he's killed while hunting. He's exercising dominion over creation. And we live with consequences. For example, I'll never know what dodo bird tastes like. It'd be nice to see what, woolly mammoth tasted like, but here we are. Another commissioning, another way in which we've been given dominion right now is also over this commissioning to be fruitful and multiply, to rule over the earth and subdue it. So, God has handed us the keys in the order of procreation. So when we choose to do the thing that creates human life, guess what's going to happen? God in his sovereignty foreknows absolutely everything. And in his pre-existence, he is the Ancient of Days. Remember, there's nothing that ever happens in the course of time which he holds in his hand as the Alpha and the Omega that catches him off guard. Every soul was foreknown before the foundations of the earth. And so we have been given the keys in that regard. So husband and wife, be fruitful, multiply. And then it's within your dominion as given by God to decide, okay, I believe that we are done having children, for example. And always be open. I mean, my wife and I have talked about that. We are done having kids. There are numerous reasons for that. Some of them are medical. But we also know in the back of our minds, like, that we've laid this open before God too, that if his Holy Spirit prompts us to have more kids, I would be ecstatic to. So these are the things that God's given us dominion over now. Now consider the current commissioning given by Jesus before the ascension. We've been given care over the earth. We've been given, the commissioning to be fruitful and multiply. We've also been given the Great Commission to make disciples. These are Jesus's last words before ascending to heaven. You can see this whole conversation at the end of, say, the Gospel of Matthew 28, and then Acts 1, which records the ascension. That's our commissioning, make disciples. So here we are. We are not in the perfect Edenic state as it was in the beginning. We're not in heaven yet, but we nonetheless still serve the same God, the greatest delegator in the universe. And what he's delegated you with is this task of making disciples. Look at how he exercises favor upon his people as they wage war against pure evil. It's evil so terrifying that it shook Daniel, this great prophet. And so God, from beginning to end in this passage, has had it in mind to redeem mankind and to create a perfect eternal future that ends as it began. And all of this to the ultimate glory of God the Father. Here he is, the greatest delegator in the universe, has delegated something to you. He delegated to Adam. He delegates to the millennial saints, according to this text. And you've been delegated with this responsibility. Make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, teaching them everything he has commanded, knowing that he is with us until the end of the age.